This is a Dr. Reverend Jelly Roll with headlines and punchlines for April 16th, 2026, the 451st day of the Sex Offender Administration. Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor apologized for making what she called inappropriate and hurtful comments about fellow Justice Brett Kavanaugh. Sotomayor apologized for implying that Kavanaugh doesn't know what it's like to be a minority. Kavanaugh is a minority. He is one of only 2 Supreme Court justices who are known sexual predators. Animal rights activists are preparing to attempt a controversial raid at the Ridgeland Farms beagle breeding facility in Wisconsin, breaking in and taking thousands of dogs they say are being abused. The operation won't be in the dead of night, but in the broad daylight, and is being planned out in the open for all to see. White people can steal thousands of dogs and be heroes, but let one Haitian steal one dog and it's a national crisis. Michigan began to feel like a state underwater as Governor Gretchen Whitmer placed the entire state under an energy emergency. Evacuations and emergency rescues began and rivers and reservoirs continued rising. Governor Whitmer can dry up the whole state by telling women Donald Trump is coming to Michigan. DAP. Dry-ass Republican-led Senate on Wednesday rejected the latest Democratic attempt to halt Donald Trump's war in Iran, turning aside a resolution that would require the U.S. to withdraw forces from the conflict until Congress authorizes further action. Why would the Republican Senate want to stop Trump when the war is going so well? This has been the Dr. Reverend Jelly Roll with headlines and punchlines for April 16th, 2026, the 451st day of the Sex Offender Administration. Join me live at the Church of Last Resort Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on MindDog TV.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host or guest and should not be interpreted as statement of fact. Independent fact-checking and corrections are encouraged.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
Damn good coffee and hot.
My dog is your.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with a Dog. You make me laugh.
All right. Good morning. Welcome to Coffee with the Dog. No dog today. He's at the vet. He went to the vet yesterday morning. Went to the vet yesterday morning. I have not heard anything back from him, so I'll reach out to him a little bit later to find out any progress. Obviously, he was not in great shape because he wasn't in good enough shape to do his show last night. The the Wednesday night show. He had an author on or something, and I can't remember what it was about. Doesn't matter. He didn't do it. So welcome. Oh, today, Thursday, April 16th, 2026. And I'm not sure how the Reverend put it. I think he called it the 451st day of the Sex Offender Administration. So welcome. We got that going for us. I don't often give financial tips because I'm really bad at the financial and the tips. I'm bad at both. I don't do either one very well. I don't do the tips. It's the whole thing, the whole shaft, or nothing at all. That's it. The shaft or nothing at all. So if you're looking at buying a car, it's going to be, how should I put it? And this is just, again, this is just theory. This is just me thinking out loud. Because right now, with the tariffs and stuff, prices of cars have already gone up. With the current state of the economy, the money to borrow the car has also gone up. So the materials to buy a car has gone up. So that means to make the car that much becomes more expensive. The money to borrow to buy the car has gone up. So that's going to make it more expensive. And Trump has just added one more thing to make cars more expensive. If they decide to do it. He has not made it like an executive order. He's just pressuring the automotive industry to slow down on producing cars and pick up on producing weapons for Iran, to kill Iranians, basically. So what that does, for those of you who are not financial geniuses like I am pretending to be, the supply and demand. This is basic economics. This is anyone who's taken anyone who's taken the introduction to Econ 101 knows about supply and demand and the relationship between pricing and supply and demand. When there is way more supply than there is demand, prices are cheap. When there's way more demand than there is supply, prices go up, plain and simple. And I'm sure a more practical application, or something that you may be simpler to grasp. You ever go into a store right after Christmas, okay? All the stuff that you couldn't find before Christmas, and that was like way like let's see, I'm going to show my age, and unless you're my age and lived in the U.S., you may not understand this. You may not remember this. And I can't think of okay, I can go Beanie Babies, or I can go Cabbage Patch Kids, or I can go Pokemon cards. Or, I got it. I don't know, again, the Mattel and Television. When the Mattel and Television came out, that was like the shit, okay? The Atari was out. The Atari 2600 was out. I think Texas Instrument TI had a video game out. That may have been the TI-99. I can't remember for certain. Or the TI-99 may have been a computer. Or the TI-99 could have been a calculator. But the Texas Instruments had they did have a gaming console, but it may have just been their computer. Atari had the Atari 2600, which was like the low-end games. Magnavox had their Odyssey, and they were all low-end type games. But then, and they were all like around $200. I'm going to say between $125, $150, and $200, something like that. The Mattel and Television came out, and it was the shit. And it was like $400, I think. I'm trying to remember. It was much more expensive than everybody else. But they also didn't make as many. They made it few. They made very few of them. So it kept the supply low. The demand was high, so they could ask for a lot of money. People go like, I'll pay anything to get one. And a lot of people did pay almost anything to get one. Same with Cabbage Patch Kids. People were buying on black market. And the funny thing, I remember when when my mother was looking for one for my niece, for my two nieces, because they both wanted one, they both got two each because my mother found four of them. Now, what if my mother was a real smart businesswoman, which apparently she was not? She could have had one for each of the kids and sold the other two for 3 or 4 times what she paid for them because of supply and demand. And that could happen with cars right now. Not that it'd be like 2 or 3 times the price, but that they would be much expensive, not even counting on top of the tariffs, on top of the insurance rates going up, and on top of the ability to borrow money for that. They want to take the manufacturers, the people who build the cars, and say, don't build as many cars, build bombs. So I'm just saying, if they start retooling their car companies to make bombs instead of cars, and you're looking to buy a new car and you were holding off because it was like too expensive, either get prepared to wait like another 6 or 7 months because it's going to get even more expensive, or try to get the car now before it gets way more expensive. That's my financial tip for the day. I hope it works for you. It didn't work for me because I don't need a car. I'm not getting a car. Good morning, Ann, California, Bakersfield, California. Hello, welcome to the show. So, that's it. That's all I got. That's all I got for good news. No, no, that's just when I was going through the news. That was the first. Okay, that's not what the first. This is what it says: Pentagon approaches automakers, manufacturers to boost weapons production. Okay, the rest of it, I just know from my years in college. Okay, weeks. It's okay. It's years in college. If you count all the times I went there to meet friends for lunch or to go to a game or something like that. If you're just counting my academic period in college, we're talking weeks. So, another thing that was in the news was that, oh gosh, they were talking about how much money, was it in Tellurico? The Democratic senator nominee or candidate in Texas, how much money in the first quarter his campaign has raised. They said $27 million, which is the most of any candidate, of any race, of any party for the first quarter Senate race, period, and full stop. That's it, the most. And people are kind of excited about that, and I'm not. I wanted to find out where the money came from, because you could have it several ways. The way I prefer is that it's 27. Let's get $27 million dollars. Well, 200. So it came like $10 each from 2.7 million people. I would love it to be like that. The other extreme is one person giving $27 million. Then there's the things in the middle. The only thing I was happy to find out about is that he's not taking any PAC money, and that most of this money is being raised locally by constituents in Texas. A lot of donations, like 950,000 donations from the people in Texas. So I feel good about that. I don't care how much money a candidate raises. I just want to know where the money came from. And hello, Heavy Kev. Relax. Okay. It says, relax. Need some information just the basic facts. Can you show me where it hurts? That's a Pink Floyd reference, Dark Side of the Moon, if I remember correctly. I could be totally wrong. I'm not known for having like the Rain Man type memory that Matt has for lyrics. You know, you start a sentence, it's like, hey, and then Matt goes, hey, how you doing? It's been a while, you know, something like that. You know, it goes on, and then he'll go like, Electric Light Orchestra, 1986. I don't know. I'm just making up numbers. I could be right subconsciously, but it's not conscious. It's not conscious awareness. So if you want to buy a car, you have to think about that right now, whether or not it's worth it. If you're in the U.S. and you're thinking about buying a car. On the other hand, if you're in the U.S. and you're thinking about buying a car, you may go the foreign car route, because if Trump asked American car manufacturers to stop building cars and build bombs, that means companies overseas like Kia, Hyundai, people that don't give a fuck about what Trump says, you may want to buy one of their cars. Of course, there's going to be a tariff. You have to figure out what's going to be worse: the price increase from the tariff, or the price increase that's going to be from supply and demand. And now I don't know how many of you guys bought a car during, I guess it was COVID. I'm trying to think. My car is a 2023. And if there was still a shortage on car, there was still a shortage. And on top of new cars, there was you walk into a car dealership and they say the suggested retail price is $11,026 or something like that. I'm just making up a number that I can remember. $11,026. And you go, oh, okay. And you walk into the dealership and you say, I want to, that's not believable. You already forgot that number because it's not believable. I'm going to say $51,126. I can remember that number. So you walk in and the sticker price is $51,126. And you go, I don't want to pay that. And so you walk into the dealership and you go like, I like that car in the lot. It says it's $51,126. What if I give you $50,000? And you start negotiating back and forth. Well, in 2023, and the year before that as well, it's like 2022, 2023, there was still a shortage on cars. Things were still trying to recover from COVID. And there was a service fee on all cars that was non-negotiable. I'm sorry, it says, the Rev would know this from Comfortably Numb. Okay, he probably would. Did I at least get the album right? Was it Dark Side of the Moon? Did I, can I get a half credit, partial credit? All right. So there were if a car was, let's say, up to $30,000, I think it was used cars had a $3,000 service fee attached. Non-negotiable, you paid it up front. You paid it. That was it. And new cars, my car had like a $5,000 service charge on it. Non-negotiable. You couldn't, it was there. They were getting that money. So, and that was, again, a supply and demand thing. Just the wall, damn. Not only do I not get partial credit, my knowledge hit. Oh, I thought that was Michael Jackson. Wasn't that Michael? I'm sorry. I know. Actually, I know. Okay. I remember Young Lust. That was my go-to. I know I'm jumping around, and I probably won't remember where I was when I get back. But Kevin mentioned The Wall. When I was in my 20s, I don't know about you guys. If you're in your 20s now, and then you probably aren't really paying attention. It's like, who's this old fuck? But if you're in your 20s now, but I don't know if you remember your 20s. But I had a song that was like the theme of my 20s. Okay. And it was Young Lust. And every time I heard that song, my brain went all gooey inside because I knew they were talking to me. That was my song, Young Lust, Pink Floyd. And that's all I'm going to say about that, because anything else will probably get recorded and get me into a lot of trouble. And I don't want to get in trouble, especially for something that I did like 40 years ago. I don't do it now. I still like the song though, but it's not my anthem. It's not my walk-up music. It's not the music that if I walked into a club, that's the music that I hear in my head. That was my imaginary theme song. When I walked down the street, that was the song that was playing in my head. When I walked into a bar, that was a song that was playing into my head. When I picked up somebody from the bar, that was the song that was playing in my head. So, a Young Lust, Pink Floyd. Now it's on the wall, right? Okay. Now, so basically, if you have to decide how and when you want to buy a car, who you want to buy it from, if you want to buy it, all that stuff, you have to make that decision. Well, shop wisely, Padawan, young Padawan. It says, Heavy Kev says, this came out when I was 16 at high school. We don't need no education. Which is, it's funny. That's reminiscent of, the spirit of Matt is kicking in. Paul Simon's song, Kodachrome, where in the lyrics it says, though my lack of education hasn't hurt me none, I can read the writing on the wall. And because of the use of the double negative, he's saying my lack of education has hurt me, yet I can read the writing on the wall. So it's kind of like that kind of thing with, we don't need no education, which is a double negative. So yeah, we need it. So, but so he was 16 when that came out. I don't know how old I was when that came out. Man, I could have been 16 too. I don't know. I have to look it up. I don't know what year it came out. But since today is Thursday, that means yesterday was Wednesday and last night was trivia night for me and my family. My wife and I and some of our four of our friends, two other couples. It was our trivia night, and we got spanked. Yeah, I think we came like in third from last out of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Out of 12 teams, we were third from last, third from the bottom. We got spanked. Now there was a lot of teams. I mean, there was a lot of clusters in there. I mean, like there's a lot of teams, like I said, that were within 10 points of each other. Actually, there are a lot of teams. Yeah, a lot of teams are within all the teams that were ahead of us were like within 10 points of each other. We were at the bottom, and we were like, we had no shot of winning, none. But one of the funny things, because last week we won, and I don't think it was even close. And so this guy comes over to our table, one of the regulars, and he looks at us and goes, how you guys doing? And so one of the people at our table go, oh, I won last week. Well, we were a team. And she says, I won last week. I did this. I did great. And so we began to tease her because we were a team. It wasn't like she was by herself. We all contributed answers and stuff. And then we started getting our asses kicked. And actually, we started off really good. The first quarter, the maximum number of points you can get was 15. We had 13. So the maximum number of points you can get in any quarter is 15. First quarter, we had 13. So we're doing good. She's feeling good about herself. I'm doing great. And then the next quarter comes. Most points you can get is 15. We got 5. And we got 5 of them on one question. And that question was, who owes you, like 100 people surveyed, who owes you an apology? Now, my wife immediately, first of all, I'm thinking, I said ex-spouse. That was the first thing I said. No, I'm sorry, that wasn't the question. The question was, who would you call if your car broke down? And so first thing I said was spouse. That's it. I mean, I wouldn't call AAA. Because chances are, if in my car, I'm going somewhere, I'm going to either be late to where I'm going or something. So I call my wife to let her know. Because whenever I go to perform someplace, I tell her where I'm going. I give her the address to where I'm performing and about when I should get there. And when I get to the venue, I call my wife and I let her know I'm at the venue. Because what's going to happen is for the next few hours, I'm going to be like unavailable. I'm not going to pick up my phone. I'm not going to look at my phone. I'm not going to talk with anybody. And so she knows where I should be for the next few hours. Fly swatter. And so she knows where I'm supposed to be for the next few hours. And so when something happens, I call her. That's what I'm going to call. Let her know I'm still heading there, or I didn't make it, or I'm on my way home from there, and I'll be late or whatever. So that was the number one answer. That was it. The next two, we got goose eggs. Let me see. And so the guy comes back to us after we start sucking, and he says, "How you guys doing?" And that same woman who goes, "I won last week. I'm doing great." Tonight she says, "We're not doing so well." So when we were doing great, I was doing great. But that's it. Right. When they asked her, how are you doing when things are going great, it's like I. But now that we're sucking, it's like we're not doing so good. We're not having a great night. We sucking. So that was so like I said, we got our asses handed to us. But one of the questions that got us to goose egg was name a place that's hard to leave once you get there. Okay. And first thing we all thought was a bar. That's what, 1979. Wow. Okay. Oh, I was 19. Yeah, 19. 1979 release For the Wall, Pink Floyd. I was 19. Which would explain why when I was in my 20s, that was my go-to song. That was my theme. That was what I walked in my head. That's what was playing whenever I walked into a room. And if you want to know the words, I'll find them somewhere. Let's see. So that was the first thing we said was bar. Then someone else said a stadium after a concert or a game. That's hard to get out. So that's the answer we put. And nobody said that. Number one answer was bar. So we'd have been right. And then the next thing that got us a goose egg, they said, name something that a child wants before bed or wants in order to go to bed. And our answer was, the answer we decided on through the democratic process was the story. I was thinking Nightlight. And the only reason why I was thinking Nightlight is because of They Might Be Giants. That song is stuck in my head. And it's about a little nightlight. He wrote the song about a nightlight in his kid's room that watches over his kid. Blue Canary in the Lighthouse, that watches over me. That's about a little nightlight. Little birdhouse in your soul. And so I said Nightlight. That was the number one answer. We said read the story because we had 1, 2, 3, 4. We had 4 moms in our group. 4 moms. And the mom said Nightlight. We had one guy who had kids, and he goes, okay. I mean, they all said read a story because they all read stories to their kids. And then the other guy in the group, myself and the other guy goes, all right. And I said, Nightlight, but nobody listened to me. So, and that's it. The rest of the night was like, that's kind of average. It was good and bad. But those 2 goose eggs what really, really hurt us because that put us at the very bottom. But it's just kind of, they ask you questions and you think you know something that's going to make sense. Like, if I asked you, this is one of our questions, name a food that you'll eat straight out of the container, right out of the container. You open it up and you eat it. Name a food. We went with potato chips because that's, you open the bag, you start eating right away. That was like right in the middle. That was number 3. Number 1 answer, I think, was ice cream. And, well, I guess, or popsicles, cones, individual wrap, you take them up and you eat them right out the container. But when I thought, and we did think about ice cream, but I kept thinking about, like, I only buy it by the pint. I only buy ice creams by the pint. I'm sorry, not. I don't even buy ice cream. I buy sorbet because I'm lactose intolerant. My wife buys individual servings, and she opens it up, eats the whole thing, and that's it. But we went with potato chips, and that sucked. And the other question he asked us that we sucked on was a fruit filling, a pastry fruit filling. Name a fruit that you'll find in a pastry. And I know my wife loves raspberries, so that's the first indicator in my mind was raspberries. And also, if I see a pastry, now but my main thought was apple, because that's like all over the, that's apple pie, apple pie. I think that was like 4th. I think cherries. Let's see here. And it is. Slaptail says, sorry, I fall asleep listening to this. How is this trivia? Sounds more like a version of Family Feud. They call it Family Feud Trivia Night. That's what they call it. It's not my fault. That's what they call it. Yeah, cherry was popular. It was more popular than raspberry. I think it was like 3 points. But it was, they call it Family Feud Trivia Night. So that's it. I didn't name the place. I just go there and drink and eat. And that's it. So, God. Yeah, fly swatter. Now, I said that I don't know how many of you people have seen this picture out there. Well, not this picture. This is, I doctored the picture. I put Jeffrey Epstein's face in there over top of the guy that's actually in the bed, because I'm thinking Trump has been getting so much heat from everything else he's doing. He really needs another distraction. And the best distraction he could have is Jeffrey Epstein, even though right now, it's kind of funny. When Trump was trying to get people to forget about Epstein, he was like killing people in the Pacific Ocean. He was killing people off the coast of Venezuela. He was invading Venezuela. He started a war with Iran because he wanted people to stop talking about Epstein. Now he's in so much shit with the war with Iran and all the other stuff he's doing. He needs people to talk about Epstein, but not talk about him. So what better way for that to happen, for him to use his Jesus powers to bring back Jeffrey Epstein? So if he uses Jesus powers, brings back Jeffrey Epstein, then we'll be talking about the Epstein files, but we'll be talking about Jeffrey Epstein and not Trump. Then that's a win-win for Jesus H. Trump. So that's why I made that little picture there. I put it on my Facebook post. I'm probably going to see if I can get people to put their favorite caption for that. I don't know if I had an idea for caption of that or not. I have no idea. I deleted it. I did have a caption because I raced over it. So I don't remember what it was, but I know it has something to do with Jeffrey Epstein and something. I don't remember. Now, let me get rid of that. Okay. Yeah, I'll leave it there for a little bit. People tuning in, they can see that. They can still see my face. You don't really need to see my whole face, right? Nobody needs to see my whole face. They can look at that. and enjoy that picture for a little bit. So, and anybody getting a replay will see that. And like I said, I'm kind of proud of myself that I thought of it. That's all. No biggie. I'm having fun with it. Now, I'm gonna get rid of it. What the hell? Somewhere along the line, oh God, another question that got us in trouble. Again, it wasn't, it was if a man is going to impersonate a woman, what's the one thing he would really need to sell that costume? And the first thing we all said breasts. That's it. And then it went from, then we started talking about Kristi Noem's husband. Because when he's doing his thing, the one thing he had to have, if nothing else, was the breast. That was only number 3. Number 1 answer was a dress. So, again, we thinking breast, it was dress. But here is this was my turning point. My wife and I recently had I don't want to call it an argument because I didn't really argue. I just got angry. But my wife, something I told my wife about something many times over like the past few months. Since I've been doing this, I was getting dinged a lot, and from Facebook and YouTube and TikTok for violating community standards. And they were constantly threatening to put me on probation and delete my account. In the meantime, those same accounts was showing like complete nudity, and not only that, it was being like it's in my feed, like when I go to stroll, it's like it's there, it's so in other words, the algorithm says this is what we want to show you. And one of them I thought was funny, and I gave it a thumbs up or a laughy face. And so, of course, when I did that, that made me shit, I guess. And so they dinged me, and they said I was violating community standards. I said, wait a minute, I did not create that content. It was put there. I just liked it. And so I said, you guys have put this shit on my phone, on my feed for, so I took screenshots of all the stuff. Not all the stuff. Believe me, it would have been too much. I think maybe 7 or 8. And I sent it to them in their email. And I still had the pictures in my phone. And so the other night, my wife went through my phone. She knew I was doing this, but she saw that I had the picture still. And I said, yes. She said, what are you going to do with them? I said, I don't know. It's just proof that it happened. It's just proof. And so she got mad at me. And so I said, why are you going through my phone? I don't get it. Why are you going through my phone anyway? I don't go through your purse. I said, your purse sits on the counter all day long. We've been together for 23 years. I've never gone through your purse unless you sent me there to get something. And then I get what you asked. I don't go through your purse. You say, get my wallet, I get your wallet. I don't go through your purse. You ask me to get your phone, I get your phone. I don't go through your phone. I have my wife's passcodes for her computer and her phone and stuff. I don't go through it because as far as I'm concerned, everybody needs some private space and, for whatever reason, if they want to have a diary or whatever, everybody needs a private space. Now, I don't lock anything. I don't lock my phone. I don't lock my drawers. I have tons of sex toys up there that I'm holding for the Reverend. They're not for me. I'm holding them for the Reverend. My wife knows about all those things. Okay. I don't have any secrets from my wife. I have shit I don't tell her, which is different. And I've explained it a few times. If there's anybody out there for the first time who doesn't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to explain it. And for those of you who've heard it a million times, I apologize. The difference is, like I said, I don't care if my wife finds out. It's not a secret. I don't care if she finds out. I'm just not going to tell her, or I'm not going to bring it up. And that's because I don't feel like talking about it. I don't feel like explaining it. That's it, plain and simple. Like I have a box of dildos of like 6 different sizes. What is it? 4 different sizes of dildos. Okay. And I help the Reverend build games that we play on stage for people. That's it. And my wife knows I bought all those dildos. She knows they're there. She may not have seen them. I mean, she's okay. But again, she has seen some of them, but she's only seen them in use. So like when I used a dildo to make a golf club so that people can play pussy putts, she sees it. And it's funny. It's part of the game. But she hasn't seen the dildo in its pack, just the dildo. Okay. So you get to understand what I'm trying to say here. She's seen the dildo when I use it for comedy. She has not seen she has not seen a dildo in the pack unopened. And the reason is the one that's on the golf club hasn't broken. If it breaks, I have another one. I can replace it. The game goes on. The night can go on. I have a spare. Now, if my wife comes in and she sees the dildo sitting on the desk or something, she might go, "Why do you have a dildo on the desk?" It's like, what are you talking about? I've had it for there. I said, the Reverend's going to do a game. I'm helping the Reverend develop a new game or whatever. And then she'll go, "I didn't know you had dildos in a package." It's like, well, where do you think the dildos on the games come from? Do you think I went into a store and said, "Excuse me, I'd like to buy a golf club, but instead of golf club head, I want a dildo on the end. So when they putt, it's a dick and not a golf club. Can I get one of those?" And I go to Dick's to buy it, right? Go to Dick's to get a golf club. And they go, "No, you can't get that here. You can't get that at Dick's." And guess what? You can't get that at a porn store. You have to build it. You go to Excitement Video or Excitement Adult Store. They don't have golf clubs with penises on the end. They just don't. I don't know why. And you can't get one at Dick's. So you get the golf club itself. You get the shaft from Dick's, and you get the dick from Excitement Adult Store. And then you go home and you get your little screwdriver and your drill and you put them together. So now you have a putter for your sex games for the stage. Okay? And everybody knows, like I said, it's not a secret. It's not a secret. But when my wife is confronted with those kinds of things, she gets upset, even though she knew about it. But seeing it just triggers something else. And now I have to explain. I don't feel like explaining. You know, it wasn't entertaining. I don't mind explaining on stage because then it's somewhat entertaining. But I don't feel like explaining things just for the sake of explaining, you know, especially when I'm going to be judged by it. And that's the other thing. She judges. I explain and then she'll judge. All right. So she goes to my phone. She finds something that she knows about, but now she sees it in a different context. And she takes it out of the context and forgets why it's there, why I told her it existed. She forgets it's been a year, a year of me collecting stuff. She forgets about it. And so she gets upset. And I'm upset. Like, I'm upset because you went through my phone. So you should lock your phone. And so I shouldn't have to lock my phone. So we go through this. We have this argument. And then she says to me, "All right, I'll forget about it if you can convince me that this is all an innocent mistake." I said, "Well, I can't convince you it's an innocent mistake because if you haven't been listening to me for the past 6 months and keeping knowing what I've been doing, then I can't convince you. If I couldn't convince you over 6 months, I can't do it in 6 minutes. Fuck it. I can't do it." So the next day, my wife says, you should lock your phone. I said, I know, I'm not locking my phone. I'm not locking my phone. I don't lock my drawers. I don't lock my shelves. I'm not locking shit up. If I got to do that, then I'm in the wrong relationship. If you got to do that, you're in the wrong relationship. We just should be able to just respect each other's privacy, regardless of what it is, So she goes, okay. And I thought we were at peace. I thought everything was cool. And then last night, one of the questions was, who owes you an apology? Who in your life owes you an apology? And my first response was ex-spouses. They all owe you an apology. That was my first response. And she says, my spouse. And she pats me on the face as if the little dig. And at that point, I had enough liquor in me that I really wanted to say something. But I had enough sobriety left in me to know it was better not to say anything. And I didn't. Until then, now I am. So because I don't have any liquor in me and I can say it without being mad. Last night, if I said it, I'd have been mad. And that's not, I don't like to, when I'm mad, I say things that I don't want to say things that I can't take back. Even if you didn't mean it, once they hear it, you can't take it back. You can't. And so I was talking about things like like I said, I don't have any secrets from my wife. I have things I don't tell her. And that's been part of my comedy routine for like 6 years, I think. And finally, last year, my wife asked me, she goes, do you have any secrets from me? I said, haven't you been listening to my comedy for the past 6 years? I mean, sure, it's only a one line. It's like, I don't have any secrets from my wife. I have shit I don't tell her. And I explain the same thing every time. The same thing. When my wife asked me, well, like what? She always asks me an example. Well, what's an example of stuff that you don't? It's not a secret, but you won't tell me. I said, oh, okay. I said, fine. I'll tell you. And I said, and I'll tell her. I said, the reason why I don't tell you things is because I don't like being judged. Okay. Because if I tell you about something, it means it's already happened. It's in the past. Even if it's just 30 seconds ago, it's in the past. Okay. A lot of things I'm talking about happened maybe 5, 10 years ago, a year ago, but still in the past. And if I made a mistake, I've already run the scenario through my brain. I've already, like, quote, forgiven myself. And if I made a mistake and it harmed somebody, I've reached out to that person and said, look, I apologize. I was wrong. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have done that. Because I don't know how long I'm going to live. And I don't want that stuff out there, in the event that I would die tomorrow. As soon as I know I made a mistake and as soon as I know I've hurt somebody, I try to clear the air. I do my best to clear the air. And from that point, it's not up to me. It's up to them to say, okay, he did try to apologize, or he did apologize. He recognized that he fucked up. I'm not satisfied with his apology. Fuck that. I'm still bad. But that's okay. I feel good. When I was 6 or 7 years old, I was very good with slingshots and slings. I don't know if you guys know what a sling is. If you're familiar with the story of David and Goliath, David versus Goliath. David apparently took him out with a sling. And when I was little and I read these things, I took everything very literally. So I wanted to know, what you could do with a sling. So I went ahead and I made a sling and I started practicing, and I was very good with it. I could hit cans off of the fence and stuff like that. And slingshots, I was really good at slingshots. I could hit, throw a can in the air, I could hit it. I did not know how, I was pretty good at it with a slingshot, but I was one of the youngest kids in the neighborhood. So whenever we took turns at doing stuff like shooting at a bottle on a fence or whatever, I had to go next to last because I was the second youngest. The youngest was Abram. He was the only one younger than me who played in the same circles, and so he had to go last sometimes. But now this is a strange dynamic. Even though, like I said, I was 6 or 7, Abram was 4 or 5. He was the youngest of like 14 kids. He had siblings that were as old as my mother. When I was 5 years old, he had a sibling that was the same age as my mother, like 34, 32, 33. Yeah, his mother had a lot of kids over a lot of years. So, he had nieces and nephews that were like in their teens and 20s. And so sometimes we'd be out there playing with his nieces and nephews, and they would, like I said, he was an uncle. He was like 5, 6 years old, between 4. He was an uncle. From the moment he was born, he was an uncle. He was Uncle Abe from the moment he was born because he had siblings who had kids, who were married and had kids. And so sometimes Uncle Abe got to go before me because he was an uncle. And then I had to go last. There was a bird, a crow, on a tree branch, about maybe 40, 50 feet away from us. And the idea was we were taking turns trying to hit the crow with our slingshots. And already some people are, oh my God, it's like we were kids. We were kids, okay? We're talking 60 years ago for me, 60 years. And my wife already goes, oh my God, you're so mean. I said, do you want me to finish the story or not? This is why I don't tell you shit, because you get all judgy on me. It's not a secret. There was a bunch of us there. I just don't want to be judged. No, I was a kid. They start taking turns with the slingshots, and they were all missing. And I had to go last. And then one kid hits the branch that the bird is on, and the bird starts to fly off. And I panic, thinking I'm not going to get my turn. So I take my slingshot, even though it wasn't my turn, and I haul back, and I sing, and I get the bird out of midair, and he hits the ground. Yeah, I killed the bird. I was not proud of it. Matter of fact, I was devastated that I killed the bird. I mean, I didn't mean to kill it. I didn't even think that I could kill it. I just thought I'd hit it. You know, just like when a bird hits the window, it'll hit the window, get up and fly away. Or watch the bird hit the car and he get up and fly away. So that's what I was expecting. I was expecting that to happen. That way, I hit the bird, he get up and he fly away. But I hit it in the head, and it did not get up and did not fly away. And I was, like I said, I cried about it for I don't know how long. And I still feel bad about it, only because I don't like taking a life, especially needlessly. But it's not one of the things that I talk about. I mean, part of me, okay, as a kid, that's fucking awesome that you can take a slingshot and hit a moving object, okay, from 40, 50 feet away, okay, and without aiming, not aiming, but just instinct, just like, bam, that's it. Didn't take my time, but just like, got it. Set out to hit it, and I hit it. So as a kid, that's fucking awesome. You know, as somebody who can shoot like that with a slingshot, that's fucking awesome. But as somebody who kills animals, it's not so good. So I've always had mixed feelings about that. Man, that was an awesome shot with a slingshot. Awesome. Fucking awesome. But the fact that see, I'm getting responses like, I judge you normal. This is all slap tail. Nice. Also, crows are considered varmints and legal to kill. And really, I do. It makes me stronger. I don't like taking lives. I don't like to, but I know I will. I learned that about myself. I'm not proud of that fact, but I learned that I will take a life. And I'm not proud of it, but it's something to know, good to know, if I'm in trouble, that I can do that. And it was with my bare hands. See, and you see me smiling because, again, I don't want to ever have to explain that to my wife, that I know that I'm capable of taking a life with my bare hands, because I came very close to doing it. Somebody had to pull me off of the person. It was rage. It was a sheer rage. And I was outnumbered 4-1, but I got the one guy and I just tried to kill him. And if it weren't for people pulling me off of them, I would have been in jail for manslaughter. So again, I don't, it's not a secret. Okay. Anybody who knows me long enough knows I'll talk about it if the opportunity arises. I just don't want to talk about it and someone goes, "Oh my God, you tried to kill another person with your bare hands?" Yes, it was self-defense. And yes, I lost my temper. Yes, I did. I wasn't successful. I didn't kill them, okay? I didn't kill them, but you would have. Well, yes, I would have. And you were stopped. Yes, I was pulled off of them. So you are potential murderers, like we all are. We just don't know what we'll do under what circumstances. But at least I know that if I lose my temper, that I can and probably will kill somebody with my bare hands, okay? And now you know, don't fuck with me. Don't get me mad. So, yes, this is, it's still context for the trivia night. Yeah, so I didn't get mad when my wife goes, a little dig at me. Because in my mind, it was behind us. But apparently, if she gets enough drinks in her, it's not behind her. I don't drink a lot. That's the other thing I learned a long time ago, that my wife and I cannot drink at the same time. Because we fight over stuff we agree on. I said that the next time Matt was out, and I knew he was going to be out, I was going to just play a little video of me doing some recent comedy. And I have like a 3-minute clip. I'm not putting it on YouTube or anything like that. I'm just sharing it with you guys. But before I play it, I'm going to replay the news from this morning. So be back in about 2 minutes.
This is a Dr. Reverend Jelly Roll with headlines and punchlines for April 16th, 2026, the 451st day of the Sex Offender Administration. Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor apologized for making what she called inappropriate and hurtful comments about fellow Justice Brett Kavanaugh. Sotomayor apologized for implying that Kavanaugh doesn't know what it's like to be a minority. Kavanaugh is a minority. He is one of only 2 Supreme Court justices who are known sexual predators. Animal rights activists are preparing to attempt a controversial raid at the Ridgeland Farms beagle breeding facility in Wisconsin, breaking in and taking thousands of dogs they say are being abused. The operation won't be in the dead of night, but in the broad daylight, and is being planned out in the open for all to see. White people can steal thousands of dogs and be heroes, but let one Haitian steal one dog and it's a national crisis. Michigan began to feel like a state underwater as Governor Gretchen Whitmer placed the entire state under an energy emergency. Evacuations and emergency rescues began and rivers and reservoirs continued rising. Governor Whitmer can dry up the whole state by telling women Donald Trump is coming to Michigan. DAP. Dry-ass Republican-led Senate on Wednesday rejected the latest Democratic attempt to halt Donald Trump's war in Iran, turning aside a resolution that would require the U.S. to withdraw forces from the conflict until Congress authorizes further action.
Why would the Republican Senate want to stop Trump when the war is going so well? This has been the Dr. Reverend Jelly Roll with headlines and punchlines for April 16th, 2026, the 451st day of the Sex Offender Administration. Join me live at the Church of Last Resort Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on Mind Dog TV.
Yay! Okay, that's a recap of the news from this morning. Not a recap, that was the news from this morning. Now, Slaptail says, hold the phone, you do comedy? That is up to interpretation. It's up to interpretation. I'm gonna add this to the stage. I still feel self-conscious about it. I am self-conscious. Again, this is why I procrastinate. The very thing that you see here, this is me procrastinating because I did this live. I did this in front of people, and that's it. It's done. But now, I recorded it. I got a little clip right here, and I haven't pushed the button because of fear of being judged or not wanting to be judged. But that's what happens when you perform live. When you perform live, you're being judged all the time. You just don't realize it. And you're being judged by either applause, you're getting approval, or heckled, or sneered, or jeered, or booed, and you're getting disapproval. It's judging. You're being judged. So why the fuck would I do something like this? And I know I don't like being judged. I have no fucking idea. I don't know. One of the things I hate the most is that I don't like being judged, which is why I don't, like I said, I don't have secrets. I just don't say shit to people. So I don't understand why the very thing I do, performing on stage, I'm not going to call it comedy, but performing on stage, which is the very epitome of being judged, why I do it. And that's the one thing I hate in my entire life. I hate being judged. I don't understand. I really don't. Maybe you'll understand it. Okay, this is just a little segment. It's like 3 minutes long. I don't know if I should give context. I think it should stand on its own, right? We'll see. It shouldn't, hopefully won't. I'm wondering whether or not I edited it well enough to put it in context. Because to me, it makes sense already. And see, that's the other thing. When you're performing comedy or something like that, quite often people can tell stories and it makes sense in their head, and other people are going, what? I don't know what the fuck, what? And in your head, it makes sense. And that's how a lot of my arguments with my wife start and or end. My wife said, why did you do that? I go, it made sense to me at the time. She said, it doesn't make sense to me, so we don't think the same. That's the other thing. People, okay, I got it. Just play it, no context. I got it. Here we go. You're not old until people start taking away your freedoms and your choices. It's like when they start treating you like you're 6 years old again. Okay? Yeah, that's when you're old. I mean, when you're 6 years old, if you want a puppy, say, Mom, Dad, can I have a puppy? No. You're too irresponsible. You might kill it. We'll get you a goldfish. And if you kill it, it's no big deal. Well, it's no big deal unless you're the goldfish. I mean, can you imagine being in a pet store? You're a goldfish, you're in the aquarium, and you see a couple coming with a kid, and you get all excited. You're like, oh, yay! Look, I'm going to get adopted. Oh, I'm going to get a new home. Oh, yeah, look. I'm going to have my own tank. I won't have to swim in their poop anymore. I'll be able to swim in my own pee and my own poop. And then you look back. In the corner, you see 3 other fish just hiding in the corner because they saw the documentary Finding Nemo. And they remember Darla. So they don't want to get picked. They're in the back pretending that they're sick. Not so sick that you flush them on the toilet. No, they're just sick enough so that the couple won't pick them. So one of them is like limping. swimming slightly askew. Another one is like faking like he's got rabies, drooling. You have to stare real hard to see it. And the other one is in the back with hay fever, eyes all watery, swimming slightly ague. The point is, when you're young and you're 30 years old, you can have any pet you want. Nobody gives a damn. Nobody wonders if you're going to be around to take care of it. When you're 30 years old, if you say, I want a puppy or a cat, your friends will go, hey, you only live about 20 years. You'll be 50. You're fine. Friend goes, hey, I want a cockatoo. Not cockatoo. That's a different joke a little bit later. I want a cockatoo. Your friends will go, hey, you're 30. A cockatoo only lives to be about 75. You'll be 105. You're fine. Friend goes, hey, I want a tortoise. They say, hey, you're 30. It's okay. A tortoise only lives up to 150 years. You'll be 180. You're fine. He goes, hey, I want a pet rock. God knows how long pet rocks live. I can't do that joke. But the point is, when you're 30, you can have any pet you want and nobody gives a shit. But you turn 66 and I want a puppy, they say, no, let's get Pop a goldfish. Okay, that's it. Wow. Okay, now I know what happens. It just freezes when you get to the end. And now I know why I was reluctant. My wife tells me that whenever I do these things, I should put closed caption because not everybody can understand. And thank you, Anne. So I'll add closed captions, I guess. I forgot what. Oh, now that footage and the sound is from Plausible. That's they're both from Plausible. Slaptail says he apologizes for previous accolades. So, that's actually that piece is part one of the 3-part thing called Get Pop a Goldfish. And basically, it's just a premise about, you know something? I think I should have, there was context missing. Yeah, I should have started a little bit, boogers. But that's okay. But now I can fix it. I know what I need to do to fix it. Now I know. Now it's clear. So I was doing it last night and I wasn't sure, but now I know what that, yeah, makes sense. It makes sense. Got it. It makes sense to me. I'm not telling you. It is just a part that's before that I should have played. And, or did I? Never mind. Yeah, I did it. Never mind. I did what I wanted to do. I got it. Yeah, because that other part, that bit is actually a lot longer. It's a lot longer. I picked it up near the middle, or like the last 3 minutes of the bit. The bit itself is probably closer to 5 or 6, maybe 7 minutes long. And the entire thing about Get Pop a Goldfish is probably 12 minutes long. A bunch of short stories and stuff like that. Now, that clip was from 2 different performances of that piece. Slaptail says, but seriously, I had a great time doing a show with GD. Can't wait to do another one. And we will, because I actually like that the wealthy theater. I just like that theater. I do. I like theaters anyway. I think part of that is psychological for me because, again, I know I'm not a regular comedian, okay? And when I stand on stage like a regular comedian, people have a different expectation of me. They have a different laugh ratio than and because I'm not a well-known commodity. For example, if you were a fan of Andy Kaufman, okay, if you were a fan of Andy Kaufman and you went to go see him at a club, you know what to expect from Andy Kaufman, or kind of what to expect, or you know what not to expect. You know he's not going to do stand-up jokes. He's going to become a character, and he's going to do something like more like an art performance, okay? And the people who know Andy Kaufman, the people who like Andy Kaufman, expect it. And so they're not going to be they're not likely to be disappointed if he doesn't stand up there and do jokes. You know, I mean, one of the things that he did, for me, one of the funniest things he did, I think he started off like the Latka character. He goes, "Thank you very much," you know, thing. And he has this little thing, and then he becomes Elvis Presley. And he does the whole Elvis thing, and he does such a good Elvis impersonation. And when it's done, he goes, "Thank you very much." You know, if you know Andy Kaufman, you're used to that. If you don't know Andy Kaufman and you go to see him for the first time, you're like, okay, why is he the headliner now? I don't fucking get it. Why? Now, I'm not saying I'm Andy Kaufman. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you're familiar with my performances, like if you've watched and if you've been a fan of mine for like believe it or not, I actually have people who've been fans for like 11 years. Straight. Continuously. I actually have fans who have been I have recorded 5 or 6 90-minute shows. And I have fans who have seen all of them live. And I mean, now, when I give you the number, it's like a total of 7 people total that have seen all 5 or 6 of those 90-minute shows live. Okay, that's it. Now, again, I'm a nobody. So to me, that's kind of, you know, it's not, I'm not saying I'm bragging or anything, but there are people who know what I'm trying to say is there are people who know what to expect from me. So when they come to see me another show, they know I'm not going to be up there and doing a joke getting a laugh every few seconds. They know I'm going to do some world building. I'm going to drag some shit out. I'm going to do some act outs. I'm going to, do some character shit. They know that it's not regular stand up. But people who've come to see me for the first time, if they see me in a comedy stage, they may expect straight up stand up, which I can do. I don't like it. Even though I like the laughs, I don't like doing regular stand up. And part of it is because I don't want to be like everybody else. Everybody else who's a comedian does, and you can see it. You can see these kids, these young guys, they're all trying to fit into the formula. They're all trying to do a laugh every 11, 15 seconds or whatever it is. They're all trying so hard to do that. And they're trying so hard to do that they're forgetting to be themselves. And that's where the real connection comes in. The real connection isn't that you're up there making people laugh all the time. Sometimes the real connection is that you can relate to that person that's up there. I have a friend of mine who said to me, I did a joke and it got a lot of laughs. Because I said something and he goes, that's not funny. I said, it gets laughs. I said, it gets a lot of laughs. And he goes, so I showed him the video with all the laughs. And he goes, not just one video, several. I get like a little compilation of like 6 or 7 appearances with that one comment that he didn't think was that funny. And because it doesn't seem like it should be funny, but they laugh every time. And he goes, they're laughing because they like you, not because it's funny. Well, that's fine. Because I've been laughed at when people didn't like me and it doesn't feel the same. So that's part of the thing when you're performing live is to be yourself. Don't be the formula, and if you don't fit that formula, then be yourself, and hopefully your audience will find you, or enough of an audience will find you that you'll feel good about what you're doing. But you should feel good about what you're doing, whether an audience finds you or not. Okay, even if I don't have a big audience, I don't have a great audience, but I feel good about what I'm doing. So when I do get a chance to perform it, like Randy Levin says, it's what's in your soul. This is who you are. Be that. If I'm being true to myself and doing that, if only 20, 30 people are coming out to see me, or that's fine if they're enjoying the show. And if I'm doing the work that I want to do, if I'm performing the stuff I want to perform, I'm happy. Now I'm going to say something about Slaptail, Beeve man. Like I said, he and I think he lives in Michigan. Just for the record, he lives in Battle Creek, and I live in Westminster, Maryland. We're about 10 hours apart. I actually like him as a person, and I like him as a comedian. Like him both. Now, I'm not saying it's reciprocal. Don't get all bent out of shape and says, no. I'm saying as a person, I like him, and as a comedian, I like him. And if we actually lived closer together, we'd probably be like, well, then I can't speak for him. I would probably be like, hey, John, can you come out and play? Swan, will you go tell him I'm not home? Hey, I see your car out here. Can you come out and play? Tell him my car's broken and I had to get a ride to work. You're working from home today, right? Tell him I had to go in. So I'm not saying that he'd want to be friends with me. His dog would. His dog would love to be friends with me. But I'm not saying he'd want to be friends with me. But his personality, and his sense of humor, I like it. So when he says to me he's dark, he's got dark humor, I don't see dark. I just see funny. So, but the point is, you do what's in your heart. Okay, if you're a performer, you do what's in your heart. Don't do what you think the audience needs to see, unless you're in it for the fucking money. If you're in it for the fucking money, then do it. If you're in it for the art, do what's in here. Do what's in here, not what's in here. Okay? And be yourself. Don't sit there and go, I'm going to be the next Dave Chappelle. Fuck Dave Chappelle. Not in a bad way. I mean, be yourself. There's one Dave Chappelle. I'm going to be the next Richard Pryor. Fuck Richard Pryor. Be yourself. Nobody wants to. I don't want to be out there and someone goes, coming to the stage, the next Richard Pryor. No, that may be a compliment to somebody, but not to me. I don't want it to pay me with a check, which is in the mail, to say the next Richard Pryor. I want to say So GD Funny, LLC. That's what I want the check to say, because that's what I worked on. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to be. I don't want to be the next Richard Pryor. I don't want to be the next Richard Carlin. I don't want to be the next Bob Newhart. I want to be the best GD Benderson I can be, plain and simple. Now, let me see. There was something else in the news I wanted to talk about, and I wish I knew what it was. It's not about the Iran. Look, I'm looking for things. Okay, I was looking for things that aren't so drastically bad. Like, oh my God, there's. First of all, I did not know that Michigan was like flooding. I did not know that. And so, Slaptail, is your area of Michigan being flooded? Where's the story? There's and the first thing about the news story is that it starts off by saying Michigan is surrounded by water. Michigan is not surrounded by water. So Michigan is, okay, it's a state, and maybe you can call it a peninsula. Okay, surrounded by water is an island. Michigan, at worst, is a peninsula like Florida. It's shaped like an oven mitt. It's not surrounded by water. Okay? That's the first thing in that news story. It says it's surrounded by water. Okay, Slaptail, I asked him about the thing. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm wrong. I thought he was responding to the flooding situation in Michigan. But that's the first thing. The first thing the article says that Michigan is surrounded by water. It's like, no, you're a news reporter and you don't know that. You're a local news reporter in Michigan and you don't know that it's surrounded by water. It's not surrounded by water. How the fuck did you get a job at a newspaper in Michigan? And why are they repeating your story? Why is that even on the internet nationally, worldwide for people to see? Because people who don't know Michigan think it's an island now. And the people who do know Michigan think you're an island of idiots. I mean, that's where you belong, on an island of misfit newscasters or misfit reporters or misfit journalists. That's terrible. But it's out there. So that's the first thing I do is I had to get through that crap before I can get to the fact that Michigan is flooding from the rains, and they're expecting like 3 more inches of rain over the next day. And there are a couple of dams that are like really close to being full. Like according to if I can believe this reporter, it's like inches away from the top. Some of these dams, and if you've ever seen a dam, there's usually homes downstream from the dam, and if they break, like the levees broke in New Orleans during Katrina, that whole district, is it Ward 9, wiped out. So I'm hoping the best for Michigan. It's a great. I love that state. It's a really okay. It's one of my 4 favorite states. My 3 favorite states are Maryland, Maine, and Colorado. But right after that is Michigan. I love Michigan. And I don't know why, other than the Wolverines. No, I do love Michigan. So I don't know about the flooding situation. So if anybody wants to update me, and I say update, I say Slaptail, because I know he lives in Michigan, surrounded by water. That state that's surrounded by water. That and Hawaii, the only 2 states in the union surrounded by water. Now, let's see, what else do we have in the news here that I can? Oh, Sotomayor. Okay. She issued an apology to Kurt. Is it Kurt? Kavanaugh, Brett Kavanaugh. She issued an apology for something she said. Okay. And this is back when they were discussing the case about whether or not. Let me see, what was the case? I don't think they said the name of the case. But they were discussing whether or not it was that people could be stopped in California just because ICE suspected them of being a non-citizen by profiling. In other words, if they see a guy and they think that person does not look like a citizen, they could just stop him and then arrest him. And so the Supreme Court voted 6-3. The conservatives voted one way, and then the 3 non-conservative justices, the 3 smart ones, Sotomayor, Kagan, and Jackson Brown Jackson, they voted against it. They were in the dissent, saying it's not okay to stop people for looking foreign. Okay. And Sotomayor, her response was, let me see, this is what she says. I had a colleague in that case who wrote, these are only temporary stops. Okay. And then she continues, this is from a man whose parents were professionals and probably doesn't really know any person who works by the hour. That's what she says. That's what she had to apologize for. Okay. That's what she wanted, because that's what she says about Brett Kavanaugh. This is the hurtful thing. This is from a man whose parents were professionals and probably doesn't know any person who works by the hour. What the fuck is so hurtful about that? The man is one of privilege. Okay? So unless he's ashamed of being born of privilege, what's the problem? And if he's ashamed of being born of privilege, then he should vote like somebody who's ashamed of being born of privilege and vote with the working class people. That's very simple. You can't have it both ways. You can't say, don't criticize me for being born of privilege, and every vote I take is going to benefit the privileged. Okay? That's what she's apologizing for. This from a man whose parents were professionals and probably doesn't really know any person who works by the hour. That's the insult. What the fuck kind of snowflake is that man? You know, this is the man who stand up during his hearing goes, I like beer. I drink beer. I like beer. I may drink too much beer. This guy. But that's the hurtful comment that she's apologizing for. So for those of you, if you hear that she apologized for a hurtful thing she said, but they don't tell you what it is that she said, that's what she said. That's the hurtful comment. And then, as best I can tell, she doesn't mention him by name. I don't know. It doesn't say that she mentioned him by name, but this is all of the quote that I have. And then she goes on to explain why it's bad for the United States, for people like ICE and Border Patrol to just stop people based on the way they look because they're minorities. And she says, Sotomayor says, quote, those hours that they took you away, nobody's paying that person, she says. Those detained, okay, quote, and that makes a difference between a meal for him and his kids that night and maybe just cold supper. Okay, now, if I'm going to try to restate it. Basically, a lot of the people that they're arresting and stopping, even if it's only for a few hours, they don't have the kind of jobs that they can just take off for a few hours and still get paid. They're not salaried employees. They may be waiters, waitresses, or they may be on construction sites, still paid by the hour. Or they're contractors and they're paid by the job. Not even paid by the hour, they're paid by the job. And if they lose that job, they don't get paid. And when I say job, I'm talking about the opportunity to do a job. For give you an example, I used to work for a company. Our services are contracted out. We did preventive maintenance, and we went to locations where there were power supplies, and we made sure that when the power went off, those standby power supplies kicked in. So I might do 30 of those in a day, and I got paid for each individual of one of those jobs. I think back then, like when I first started out, they paid me like $9 for each one of those, and it took me like 10 to 15 minutes to run a test on each one of them. I ran the test, and if it needed new batteries, I replaced it. But whatever it needed to work, if it didn't work in standby, I had to fix it. I had to figure out whatever it was, replace that part, replace that thing, and that's it. And I got $9, and I did that like 30 times a day. So back then, this is this is like 25, 26 years ago. So I think I might have been making between $270 and $300 a day. And if I didn't do 30, let's say instead of 30, I only did 25 because I got pulled over by the police for driving while black. And so I didn't get to do 30. I was detained, which had happened. I had been stopped for being black many times. And even on that job, which is so, instead of doing 30, now in my case, I didn't have a clock. So when I was released by the police, or when I was no longer being held at gunpoint, I went ahead after I finished shaking, and I did the 30 supplies. But if I didn't, that's less money in my pocket. And all they did was they stopped me for being black and driving through that neighborhood in a work van with a bucket on it. Okay. I had a bucket on the back of the van. That's not the kind of van you drive around to rob stores in. Okay. That's not the kind of van you drive around to break into houses. You know, I'm not going to get in my bucket, break in go up to the window and break in and then get back. No, that's not what that van is for. I'm driving through the neighborhood and I'm being stopped by police because I don't live there. They want ID. Why am I doing this? Like, yeah, I'm working. I do maintenance. Can we check out your van? Can we have I've had my van searched by drug sniffing dogs. Like, I'm going to be working my bucket van and then I'm going to stop to sell drugs and then get back in my van and go to my next stop and stop and sell more drugs. Yeah, so that's what her complaint is, that you stop somebody and that's money out of their pocket. Now, on the other hand, if let's say you're a salaried employee, let's say if you're a salaried employee and no matter how many hours you work, you get paid the same, police pull you over, and chances are then you're not quote, an undocumented worker. If you're a salaried employee, chances are. That's why that's why it's called profiling. Okay. But you stop somebody, they're still getting paid. Okay. They stop an NFL player, and put him in jail. Unless his contract gets taken away from him, he's still going to get paid $1 million a year. He's released, he plays the next game, he's still getting $1 million, $2 million a year. But if he's an undocumented worker and he gets stopped for 5 hours, that could be the difference between 1 or 2 meals. And that's what Sotomayor is saying, that it's not okay to be profiling people and stopping. And she's saying, and she's also saying that people like Brett Kavanaugh don't know people like that unless they're working in their house. He doesn't have friends like that. He may have employees like that. He may have a gardener like that, but they're not friends. And he got upset. That's what she had to apologize for just acknowledging that he's from wealth. He doesn't have poor friends. And he has no idea what they're going through. And she has to apologize for that. Let's see. Slaptail says, let me see. Never say Michigan and Florida in the same sentence in my presence. And he says, parts of it near us, just down the road. Our spot is good. Okay. And that's going back to talking about the flooding in Michigan, because it's an island and it's surrounded by water, according to that news report. Motherfuckers. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that in a way that, really, you don't know that Michigan is actually a state. That's more like a peninsula. If you want to call it anything, it's a peninsula or an oven mitt. You can call it an oven mitt. Now Samuel Alito, I think they're trying to get Samuel Alito to retire so that Trump will have appointed 4 justices, which would like be some kind of record. No, it bothers me that he would get to pick another Supreme Court justice. And I'm really hoping that what it is I think they're pressuring Alito to retire before Trump loses the Senate. Because if that's the case and Alito retires, it would not be unprecedented for the Democrats to say, we're going to leave that seat vacant until a new president is elected, because you're a lame duck. And new people should decide who the new person is. Ooh, I did not know that. Joy Harmon died. She was 85. I'm not going to talk about that because I'm not going to take food out of the Reverend's mouth, because he'll talk about that on Sunday. I'm just finding out that she's dead. So I gotta make a note of it so I can tell him about it. Otherwise, I'll forget. Yeah, but she was in Cool Hand Luke. She died yesterday, or yeah, wow. So I'm just going to be a little bit distracted because I'm trying to make a note to tell the Reverend about this. That, ooh, damn, didn't mean to do that. Shit. That's fucked up. Sorry. All right, Joy Harmon, from she was in Cool Hand Luke. She died from pneumonia. All right. Oh, she died on the 14th. She died on the 14th. So rest in peace, Joy. Did not know that. What else is going on in here? Live Nation jury finds illegal. What is it? Ticketmaster and Live Nation hold illegal monopolies. U.S. jury finds. About fucking time. Of course, it's going to be appealed. They're going to appeal it. And I don't know what the penalty is going to be, but so far it's good to know that they're. A jury found that, quote, a jury found that we have long known what, quote, a jury found what we have long known to be true. Live Nation and Ticketmaster are breaking the law and costing consumers millions of dollars in the process. Letitia James. Thank you, Letitia James. You go, girl. Live Nation shares closed down 6.3% following the verdict, while shares of competitors Vivid Seats, StubHub rose 9.3% and 3.5% respectively. Okay. I haven't heard of Vivid Seats. I know about StubHub. But Live Nation and Ticketmaster, they were sued and they lost their lawsuit. Now, Heavy Kev says, I live on an island. That's true. Is it like Michigan? Is it an island like Michigan, surrounded by water on all sides except for one? Well, I forgot. Well, I forgot. So I'm talking about Live Nation. There's a band. I don't know if you've heard of them. I'm trying to think. Ooh. It's not a real popular band. The name escapes me right now. I will try to think of it. Let's see. Crack the Sky. That's it. Crack the Sky. How could I forget? I don't know how that. At any rate, Crack the Sky. When they sell tickets, they discourage people from using things like Ticketmaster and that. And they say go to our website to buy the tickets so that you can avoid paying all those. You can avoid being ripped off by Ticketmaster and Live Nation. Just go to the website to get tickets. Okay, I appreciate that, and that's what my wife and I did. We got our tickets last year when we went to see them. We got our tickets through the website, not through Live Nation, stuff like that. But a lot of other people didn't do it. They went through Live Nation, and they probably pay like an extra $10 or something. So, and coming soon, Swimming the Cleveland Ocean. Book by audiobook, ebook, and paperback by John Palumbo, headliner, frontman for Crack the Sky. There we go. Just want to put that out there. Unless you guys have a suggestion for me, something to talk about, like fly swatters or something, I'm trying to think. What did I just do here? Ticketmaster, they were found liable. Ticketmaster and Live Nation. what else here that's not politically something's not political that I can talk about. Oh, the latest update about Michigan and its rains. But I just got an update from Beeve Man. He's right there. He can look out his window and tell me what's going on. Ooh, an FBI fugitive arrested in Florida. Ooh, man. Murder suspect arrested day after making FBI's 10 most wanted fugitive list. Let's see here. Well, her last name is Roper. Let's see. Let me see if I can find it. Kashawn Nicola Roper, apprehended after a routine traffic stop in Florida. Man, they should arrest her just for I'm trying to see if I can. Let's see if I can share this picture. It's going to take a bit because it's saved in a format that doesn't like to be shared. And what I'm going to screen capture it. Well, fuck, you don't need to see what she looks like. If you want to see what she looks like, you can look it up later. Her name is Kashawn Nicola Roper. Kashawn, Kashawn. And I don't want to say she's black, but with a name like Kashawn, it's like with a name like Smuckers. A Missouri woman sought on a second-degree murder charge issued in 2020 was apprehended in North Central Florida on yesterday, nearly a day after she was placed on the FBI's top 10 most wanted fugitive list. According to Alachua County Sheriff's Office online booking records, Kashawn Nicola Roper, 50 years old, of Kansas City, was arrested in High Springs during a traffic stop. But I want to know who she murdered. Let's see. She faces charges of unlawful flight to avoid prosecution, second-degree murder, armed criminal action, and unlawful use of a weapon. Okay. Oh, who did she kill? Who did she kill? There's a $1 million reward. Great. Who did she kill? Here we go. Kansas City prosecutors charged Roper with second-degree murder 18 days after an August 23, 2020 shooting that left 23-year-old Jasmine, Jazmyn, Henrion, Henrion, dead, and another woman injured. Okay. Doesn't say who the other woman is, but at least we know who she killed. She killed some woman named Jasmine, Jazmyn, Henrion, Henrion. I'm going to pronounce it Henrion. Okay, well, good. They got her off the streets. That's good. Because I didn't want to go driving through Florida until they took her off the streets. So I'm good. I now feel better about going through Florida. Trader Joe's agrees to a settlement. Wow. All right. This could be money in your pocket. Let's see here. Trader Joe's settles $7.4 million lawsuit. And here's how you find out if you are eligible to get money from Trader Joe's, up to $102 per person. You have to submit your claim by June 6, 2026. And for an estimated payout of $102.45. That's estimated. Apparently, customers who use credit or debit cards at Trader Joe's in early 2019 may qualify for a settlement payout. I have to check with my wife because my wife does like to shop at Trader Joe's and she uses her debit card for almost everything. So I have to check with her, see if she knows about this. We could be getting money back from Trader Joe's. Yay. Yay. My wife shops at Trader Joe's. Yay. What else is going on there? So people, if you shop at Trader Joe's, go to there's a go. Doesn't say where do you go. Here's where do you go to find out. I will let you know as soon as I see according to the following, blah blah blah. I'm trying to find out where do you go to find out if you're entitled to money from Trader Joe's. According to the settlement notice, I don't want that. Who is eligible? Okay. According to the settlement website, the settlement class only includes customers who, between March 5th, 2019 and July 19th, 2019, made a purchase at a Trader Joe's store using their credit or debit card and received a receipt that displayed the first 6 and last 4 digits of the card number. Okay. So this is because they put too much information on the receipt. Wow. So if you still have your receipt from 2019, oh man. I hope you kept your receipts for food that you probably already ate from March 5th, 2019 to July 19, 2019. So I hope you kept your receipts. I don't know. All right. The settlement hotline is 1-888-444-7415. Again, that hotline number is 1-888-444-7415. Okay. One more time. 888-444-7415. That's the hotline. So that's the settlement hotline for Trader Joe's to see if you're entitled to get $102.45. Do I eat chicken? Is this a black thing? Yes, I do eat chicken. I don't eat beef or pork, but I do eat chicken. Hello, Mr. Nice Guy. So good for you to join us. So, yes, I do eat chicken. I even have a chicken story, I think. I just don't want to, I had to think about it for a second. Okay, let's see. My next gig is King David Nursing and Rehabilitation Center on the 23rd, a week from today. And I've been, again, this is one of those things where I don't know, honestly, I do not know where I perform. I break out, my skin gets dry, I lose sleep, I get all nervous for like the whole like time period. So for example, the last show I did before the 23rd was on the 4th. That was the last show I did. As soon as that show was over, I started getting nervous about the next one. I started sweating and getting like you probably can't see this. Maybe you can. All right, see there, yeah. My guitar is out. I'm practicing my songs for my parody. I'm working on the stand-up material, the jokes that I'm going to do, and I'm starting to have second thoughts. When I first got booked, I said, I know what I'm doing. They want me to do an hour. I know exactly what I'm doing. And now it's a week away, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Not like I don't know what I'm doing, but like I don't know the material that I'm going to be performing. I'm starting to second guess the material that I thought was perfect for this venue. Okay. As soon as I got booked, I'm on the phone with them, finding out what they want. They tell me what they want. I say, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Everything's going to be great. Yay. Everything sounds wonderful. Now it's a week away, and I want to trash the whole thing and start from scratch because I'm already nervous and scared and thinking they're going to not like me. I'm already going through it. I started going through it. It's like I have a week. I have until the 20th to make sure I know exactly what I'm doing, because the 20th is the last open mic that I'm going to get a chance to test what I'm doing. And the open mic I'm doing on the 20th, I made an agreement with the venue. And that agreement is I will go up after the open mic and perform my set for anybody who wants to sit around and hear it. So after the open mic, when the open mic is over and everybody that wants to leave can leave, if anybody wants to stick around and hear me perform so I can practice it, that's what I'm going to do. And I checked out with the guy who runs the open mic to make sure I'm not stepping on toes or anything. He goes, hey, once I'm gone, I don't give a shit what they do at their venue. So the 20th is the last chance I get to perform a good chunk of it. I'm not going to stick around for an hour because that's way too late. Because when I leave there after the open mic, ordinarily I get home around 11 or 11:30, and then I have to research and write the material for the Reverend to do the headline news for the next day. So so I get home like around 11:30, finish that around 2:30, and then the Reverend probably recorded like at 4:00 in the morning. It's a lot too much information. It may not even be interesting, but it's in my head. I'm going to say it. So the 20th is the last time I'm going to get to perform it. And if I don't have exactly what I want to do by then, I'm fucked. Because then I'm going to be left to start doing ad-libbing and improvising. And what I don't want to do is start a joke, get close to the punchline, or start a story and get close to the punchline and realize that it's inappropriate for what the venue wants. Then I go like, fuck, I can't do this joke. That's why I got to go through my material now so I know exactly everything I'm going to say. I don't want to just go with a list of 90 stories or something, and I'll just do something and then go like, oh, that's right. They said you can't say cunt. Ooh, okay. Oh, yeah, and you can't say dick. And you can't talk about doing drugs. Oh, no. I don't want to get in that situation. So it's very, very important that I know exactly what I'm going to say and stick to it so I don't go off script. And because this venue, this King David Nursing and Rehabilitation Center has never had comedy there before. I said this yesterday and I said it before, and I'll say it again tomorrow too. They never had comedy before. I'm the ambassador. If it has to go well for me, because if it doesn't go well with me, then the lady in charge of it can say, well, we tried comedy here. It did not work. So we're going to keep doing bands, okay? And that's not how she sounds at all. Actually, it's a white woman, and she sounds like a black woman. I mean, I don't know if have you ever talked to someone on the phone and you picture exactly what they look like, and then you meet them, and you go like, yes, that's what I pictured. That's not what happened this time. I talked to her on the phone. We talked for about maybe half an hour, and I had this picture of this black woman, heavyset black woman, probably about 9 foot tall. No, heavyset black woman, about 5'8", 5'9", that kind of thing. She had a very deep, chesty voice, but very black sounding. And when I got there and I meet this woman, I'm like, she's not black. Oh my God. Matter of fact, she looks almost like she belongs in a trailer park. No, I'm not saying, I'm not calling her white trash, but she's not. I'm saying, but she had that vibe. Like if you look at it, it's like, oh yeah, trailer park. Nope. And I shouldn't say that, because what if they're watching right now? The point is, I get oh, dear Mr. Fenderson, you are no longer. Well, I'm saying she didn't look like what I was expecting a black woman, and she didn't look like that at all. So, but we got along fine, and I don't want to give them any excuse to not book another comedian. I don't want to ruin it for anybody else. No, that's all. I real hard want to do a really good job for myself, for the audience, and then for other comedians who may come after me. But I want to do so good a job that if they book another comedian after me, they all look like they suck. That's the kind of job I want to do. I want to do so good that not only do they want more comedians, they just want me. But that actually wouldn't be so. Maybe that's not a good idea. Because let's say they decide to book me once every 3 months. That means I have to come up with new material for that place that's clean every 3 months. That's not so easy for me. And it's because I'm not a clean comic. I'm not a dirty comic. I just tell stories and I try to stick to the facts. So if the story is about a gay person, they don't stop being gay just because I'm telling the story. If it's pertinent, otherwise I just say a person. You know, for example, there's a friend of mine. I've known him since 2005. And I've known, that he was at least gay, possibly bi. Since 2005, for 21 years that I've known him. I've known this about him. But he's never, ever talked about going out on a date. Never. Not once. And if he did, he never identified the gender of the person he went out with. Never. Until one time, we were just talking, and he says, we're watching a show on television, and the person one person didn't want to be with the other, but the other person just kept pursuing it, and he goes, that's stupid. If they don't want to be with you, don't pursue it. Go find somebody else. Find somebody who wants to be with you. He goes, I remember I went in to kiss this guy, and the guy backed away, and I went, hey, that's it. I'm done. I'd find somebody else. Sorry. And that was it. One sentence. In 21 years, that's the only time he's ever mentioned trying to kiss another guy. That's it. And it was just, so if I tell that story, kiss this guy. Yeah. So now it was Jimi Hendrix. I was talking, my friend Jimi Hendrix, and he was talking about went in to kiss this guy. All right, now Jimi Hendrix and I. That's why I started playing guitar, because of my friend Jimmy. It says you don't have to come up with new material for an old folks home. They can't even remember what they ate for breakfast that day. Okay, that may be true, but it's not just a nursing home. It's a rehabilitation center. So that could be there for, I've had friends there, not in this particular one, but I've had friends who like in their 40s or 50s had strokes. They were just there, so learning to walk again. They're in places like that, just learning to walk. So they're not old. They're just being rehabilitated, learning how to use their legs or learning how to use their arms after a stroke or a car accident or a catastrophic situation. So not everybody there is old. See, it's a nursing and rehabilitation center. So yeah, I would need new material because some of those people are going to remember. And that's what I have to remember, that it's a nursing home and rehabilitation center. So, and I have to find that balance, because a nursing home, a lot of those people don't want to be there. They want to be in their own homes. Rehabilitation, you have a home, you just can't live in it right now because you can't walk or talk or so yeah. But that's a common misconception, Mr. Guy, trying to get me in trouble. It's not just a nursing home, it's a rehabilitation center as well. So excuse me while I take a sip here. And that's the other thing I have to do. I'm usually taking a nap at 2:00 in the afternoon. And so for the next week or so, I have to practice being awake and performing at 2 o'clock. And so when this show is over, 11:30, or whenever it's done, it doesn't have to be 11:30. I'm going to go out, cut the grass, which takes about 2.5 hours. And then I'm going to go through a rehearsal, like setting up my equipment, testing all my equipment, and then performing for an hour in the middle of the day, because I'm not used to doing that. I'm used to being asleep at 2 o'clock, not performing in front of people. And that's the other thing. I'm not used to afternoon performances. So it doesn't bother me that the lights are all on. Just excuse me. I don't want to be rude, but sorry, I muted my mic. This is one of the things that a lot of comedians will tell you. When you're performing in a club, the lighting is conducive to comedy. They dim the lights. The seating, they have a certain ambiance. They're serving alcohol. They're serving food. And it's nighttime. Everything says comedy. You get there, everything says comedy. When you're in a nursing home, bright lights, no alcohol. I don't know what the seating arrangement is, if they've got rows or whatever. Some people may be in pain. Some people maybe just, don't want to be there, but they just don't want to be in their room either. So they just came so they have something to do. It's not really conducive to comedy. So you have to be willing to attempt to make people laugh who are sober, may not want to be there, may be angry, may be in pain. I don't know, but it's not the standard for a regular comedy club, If you go, they can still make that claim. Yeah. So it's a totally different thing. If you're a performer and you performed at a club, it makes a difference to the people, so to speak, and also to the performer. So I'm performing middle of the day, which I'm not used to, and these are not excuses. I'm saying this is just the setting. And in theory, it's like the difference. It's like being a pitcher and being a closer, an opener, middle relief, and it's the same skill set. You're still pitching from the mound. It's still 66 feet 6 inches or whatever it is from the mound to the plate. It's still the same. It's the same in every league, no matter what time of day you go there, no matter what time you pitch, no matter what inning you pitch, it's the same. And the strike zone is the same. Okay. The corners of the plate, waist to head, waist to head, waist to here. I think it's here to head to neck to waist or whatever, and inside the plate. So you have the idea what the strike zone is. I mean, there's a little bit of judgment, but that judgment is only inches and not feet. So if you're a pitcher, or a professional pitcher, you can pitch from that mound on Sunday, Tuesday, Monday, Thursday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and you can pitch at that mound from 2 in the afternoon, 1 in the afternoon, or 9 o'clock at night. Or you should be able to pitch early in the game or late in the game or middle of the game. But there's a psychological element taking place there. And so some guys go, well, I'm a closer. I can't open. What's the difference? It's the same. They don't use a different ball. They don't move the mound closer or further away. They don't have the strike zone. It's like, well, it's 6 inches narrower if you're a starter, but they give you 6 more inches if you're a closer. Nope. It's literally all up in here. And so when you're performing in a nursing center, other than the actual audience itself, the setting shouldn't make a difference. It shouldn't make a difference. If you can be funny at a bar, you should be able to be funny at a nursing home Well, as far as material goes, as far as the nerve center. So I'm gonna be just as scared there as I would at a bar, as I would at a club, as I would at a theater. I'm gonna have the same nerves. I'm gonna be just as scared. But one thing that won't change is the fact that I'm performing. And when I start performing, it's okay. I don't care that they're sober. I don't care that they haven't been drinking. This is my material. And that's what I got to have ready by the 20th. So I know what I'm delivering and say, okay, this is my strike zone. This is where I'm headed. Yeah, it's 2:00 in the afternoon, but this is my strike zone. This is where I'm throwing those balls on strikes. This is where I'm throwing it. This is what I'm pitching to them for this inning in the middle of the day. It's an afternoon game. And then next month, I'll have and in May, I have another afternoon game. But these people won't be sober. And it'll be outdoors. There'll be like 1,000 people out there. And they didn't come to see me. They came to see Crack the Sky. That's next month. So once I get through this, I'll have another month to be nervous about doing a set of comedy for another totally different thing that I've never, totally new to me. I've never done. I'm sorry, I have. I just been so long, I forgot. I was going to say I've never done outdoor, but I have done outdoor comedy a few times. I just forgot. But I've never done this many people. The last time I did an outdoor venue, and it was weird, totally weird. It was like at a park. It was like if you do Shakespeare at the park, they did comedy at the park, stage and everything, and people were there with their dogs and their kids, and the kids are running around because it's comedy in the park, and it's clean comedy in the park in the middle of the afternoon, 1:00. I think I had that video somewhere. And when I got there, I think I was supposed to, they booked me to do like 12 minutes, I think. And then some comedians didn't show up, and they said, we need everybody to pick up like an extra 3 minutes. And I don't think I did. I'm not sure. I don't remember wanting to, because I made sure that my material was clean. And if they had asked me to do 3 more minutes, I'm not sure that I would have been able to keep that clean. I don't know. I don't remember if I did the extra time or not. I remember thinking one comedian did the extra time, and I think, oh my God, no, he should have done less time. I can't remember. So, because I forgot I even did that show outside until just now. But next month, that's outdoors. It's about 1,000 people, the most I will have ever performed for live, and they're not there to see me. I'm just an afterthought. And so it kind of takes the pressure off me. But on the other hand, I'm introducing the headlining band. I'm introducing Crack the Sky. And everybody did come to see them. Now, I know I have a couple of jokes that should kill at a Crack the Sky audience. It should kill. It's one of two things. They're going to laugh their ass off, or they're going to say, how dare you do that to Crack the Sky? One of the two things is going to happen. And I'm doing the material regardless. I'm doing it. I've already decided. I've got to do that joke. It's only 30 seconds, right? I got to do that one joke because it makes me feel, I think it's so fucking funny. And I ran it by the road manager of Crack the Sky, and he goes, sure. Now, he didn't say it was funny. I asked him if it was okay if I did it. He goes, sure. We trust you. And then he says, how much time do you want to do? I said, no, you don't ever ask a comedian or humorist how much time do they want to do. He goes, how much time do you want to do? No, don't ask me that. No, because the answer is always an hour. Don't ask me that. So I said, how much time do you need? How much time do you need? Do you want me to do, if it's 30 minutes between the two bands, do you want me to do 30 minutes? If it's 15 minutes between bands, do you want me to do 15? Or do you want me, because I'm introducing the band, which means when I'm done talking, the band should start playing. Not I'm done talking, now Crack the Sky, and then they come out and they tune up the instruments and I'm not ready to play. Now, we haven't worked out those details yet. That's something we're going to talk about later, myself and the band. So I don't know exactly what I'm doing. So what I'm doing is, because we haven't talked about that yet, is I'm preparing multiple sets. So like if they need me to do like 7 minutes, I'm preparing for a minimum of 7 minutes, but a maximum of 20. Okay, I don't think I'll be doing more than that because it doesn't. I don't think it takes 20 minutes between bands. I don't think. And if I got to do more than 20, then I'm just going to wing it and just try to stay relatively clean. They want me to stay clean because they say it may be families there, like kids and stuff. And I don't know because I was there last year and I didn't pay attention to anything other than the band and the people in front of me. I mean, I was like pretty much almost in the front row. So, and this time I'm going to be better than a front row. I have backstage passes, but I'm going to watch it from the front. I'm going to sit out front. I'm going to sit in the front, but I got backstage passes. I can sit in the back with the sound people and watch the back of the band's heads, like this. Be like, this would be my seat. I don't want that. I want to watch from the front. So I'm going to be in the front row, taking pictures and stuff like that, man. And the saddest thing is because Matt said that he's thinking about calling it quits at show 1150. And if he does, I think that's May 20th, show 1150. I didn't check that out. But my show with Crack the Sky is on the 24th, which means I wouldn't get to tell you guys about it. Damn. So I hope he does. I hope Matt sticks around. I hope the show continues beyond episode 1150. But only if he's up to it, because I know this is a very extremely hard time for him. He's trying to recover, he's trying to get healthy, and like I said, I'm not like Matt and I are not like best friends. He has friends that he's like really, really close with who've known him for like dozens and dozens of years. I know Matt, from the show, and I mean, I'm not saying we don't talk. We do talk outside of the show. It's not like the only time we talk like on the telephone and stuff like that. But like, I've never been to his house. He's never been to my house. I've never met his wife. He's never met my wife. So we're not like that kind of close, but we're kind of like emotionally close. I mean, I feel, like Matt's a brother to me. Actually better than a brother because I don't like my brothers, and they're dead anyway. I mean, even before they were dead to me. But I actually like Matt better than I like my brothers. And he's just as fucking annoying. He's just as fucking annoying as they were. But that's how family is. And I'm sure I'll drive him fucking crazy. But we have a good, healthy respect for each other. And I really like him. And I would like to continue the show if the show continues, great. But when I signed on, I knew there was a possibility, not just a possibility. I knew there was going to be a day that this would not be continuing. I just didn't have. There was no day in my mind, no date, no show number. It's just that it was going to come to an end at some point. And if it does end at 11:50 on episode 1150, if that's the last show, I want Matt to go out with the best fucking show that he can have. Whatever that is, and the best show that he has in his mind, I want him to go out on his own terms. And as far as what I'm going to do after that, I have no fucking idea. I'm talking with the Reverend on whether or not he wants to still do his show on Sunday, because he used to do a show on Sundays with another thing he did. It was on Roku and it was live, and the show that he did it with, the show that produced it, was out of Vegas on the West Coast time, and so it was 9:00 their time. It was noon for us, which meant Sunday afternoons were like shot. Sunday mornings were shot because he couldn't go anywhere, and I couldn't go because I did the producing back. I did the behind the scenes stuff for the Reverend, so I was stuck. from 11 till 1:30, 2 o'clock every Sunday doing that show. And when that show ended, or actually when we left, because I had one agreement with them. My agreement was, don't lie to me. Do not lie to me. If you lie to me, I'll fucking walk. I don't care how popular the show is. I will fucking walk. And they lied to me. They fucking lied. And I'll tell you, the group or the people producing was called Sauce in the City. You've never heard me say that before. Have you? Nope. You never said Sauce in the City? Nope. Never heard me say it. I'm saying it now. They fucking lied to me. And that's the breaking point. I don't lie to me. I will walk. Because the only thing I have is my reputation. That's it. And I don't play with that. I don't play with my reputation. Because you people out there, you don't really know me. You don't know. I mean, you know what I tell you about me, and then things that you can learn from, like how I laugh when I said I almost killed a person with my bare hands. Sorry. See, there's a certain glee in my voice when I say that. And you're like, okay, you're seeing something. I don't know what you're thinking about it, but you learned something. You just don't know what you've learned. But it's me. It's the honest me. It's not the a fake me that I'm putting up there. And so I'm not going to lie to you. If I make a mistake, I'll correct it best I can. As soon as I know I've made it, I'll correct it, because I don't want to mislead people, because that's all I've got is my reputation. That's it. And so my agreement with Sauce in the City was, do not lie to me. Don't fuck me over, because the only thing we have is a business agreement, and our business agreement is only as good as the amount of trust we can put in each other to keep our word and honor the agreement. If you lie to me, that lets me know that you are willing to break the agreement. And if you're willing to break the agreement, I can't trust you. And if I can't trust you, I can't work with you. And if I can't work with you, I won't work with you. Plain and simple. So I left Sauce in the City. I left them. It was a very popular show, at least on the West Coast. It was popular. And that's it. I went cold turkey. The Reverend says, I don't need to do this shit on Sundays. I said, well, if you don't need to do it, I don't need to do it. We're free. We get our Sundays back. And then I hooked up with Matt, and Matt goes, I want more programming on Mind Dog TV. You have any ideas? I said, well, if you want to, I told him about, he didn't know the Reverend at the time. I said, I introduced him to the Reverend. I said, if you want, he can do a show for you on Sunday, 9 o'clock. And we go, okay. And that's it. Reverend came out of retirement to do those Sunday shows. He still likes the Reverend still goes out and he still does live shows. Okay. And that's fine. He still does live shows. And he'll be doing something live in May. No, April, let's see. Yeah, May. The first Monday in May, he was asked to host a series of shows. So he's going to be hosting a couple of shows in May. And then if time allows, he'll probably produce another Blessing and Blasphemy show. But he wants to develop more games, new games. And that's my job. My job is to develop new games with all these dildos and stuff I have up there. And I did think of 2 new games. I'm just not sure how to make them work yet for the audience. Wow. Okay. Love the Rev. My grandson even joins me on some Sundays. Wow. I hope your grandson is at least 5 years old. Please tell me he's at least 5 years old. I don't think anybody under the age of 5 should be listening to the Reverend on Sundays. All right. But he's your grandson. You do you, girl. You do you. So he will be doing, he will go back to doing the live shows, the Blessings and Blasphemy. And what I would really like to do, That's said, but there's a that's a heavy lift to have him do, because he needs an audience to do that. To do the live show, you need an audience, you need participants, you need people who are going to confess their sins and play games. 14. Oh, good. So yes, all right, because my main concern is that he doesn't learn from the Reverend that there's no Santa Claus. Okay, that was like in the first show. The first show the Reverend did for Matt, I think he told people there was no Santa Claus, and got in a little trouble for that. So, which means people had kids watching the show who were old enough or young enough to believe in Santa Claus. That's not right. So we're trying to decide, because that's the other thing. The Reverend uses Matt's influence and Matt's channels. So the Reverend gets like a lot of stuff on, like a lot of followers, a lot of people listening on, was it 365 iHeartRadio? That's it, iHeartRadio. So I had to figure, that kind of stuff. Getting on iHeartRadio, getting people used to the idea that he's no longer on Mind Dog TV, but he's just on his own website, his own YouTube channel. And he doesn't have enough followers on Facebook to simulcast on Facebook. You need at least 100 fans on Facebook for them to carry that live. And he doesn't have the 100 followers on Facebook. He has like, I don't know, 40. That's probably a stretch. I don't know. Every once in a while they'll go, you have a new follower. And I'll look and be like, 38? That's it? So he doesn't have enough followers on Facebook to do it live there. So you have to train people to look for it just there. Because we're not paying to be on Kick and Twitch and the other stuff, whatever it is that, because these live shows, to do this kind of stuff, it is expensive. Streaming live, like for example, I don't mind telling you this. Okay, Matt has StreamYard. My service that I have, I use Restream. The software for Restream is $50 a month. Okay, that's $600 a year for Restream. And I only use Restream for Done Way Past Funny. That's the only thing I'm using it for. And it's not, and I don't charge for that. So I'm not making that money. That's $600 a month. That's straight up loss. If you use professional Zoom, I think it's $20 a month. At least it was when I stopped using it, because it was duplicating services. I was only using the Zoom for Politipod, and I was only using it for meetings for Politipod. And that was like $19 a month. And once I left Politipod, I got rid of the Zoom because I didn't need it for anything else. The professional Zoom, where you can have all these people and share recordings, share videos, and it takes notes, and you can record it, and not just regular Zoom, the free version, and also with the professional Zoom, it's unlimited time. You weren't limited like 45 minutes, and then you have to have another meeting, set up another meeting. It's like, no, if the meeting runs 3 hours, we got 3 hours. It runs 2 hours, it runs 2 hours. If it runs an hour and a half, it runs an hour and a half. It runs an hour, it runs an hour. You don't have to stop and start another meeting. So the basic point is that these services are not cheap. And the software that we use, you don't own it anymore. You're renting everything. All the software it's a monthly thing. It's a monthly fee. They nickel and dime you. So if you want to do something live, it's like I said, Restream, $50 a month. And I don't even know what other services like Acast. I don't know what Acast costs. I don't know what I have no idea what all these venues, with these media services, what they charge and stuff. No idea, but it's not cheap. and you can run you like $600, $700, $800, even more. It could probably run you like maybe $1,000 a month in fees and stuff, depending on what you're trying to do and stuff like that. So this is not a cheap venture. And so I appreciate very much what Matt is doing over these years. Like I said, it's not cheap, it's not free, but it is out of love, you know. And the Reverend and I don't have merchandise that we're selling. You know, I have merchandise, and usually I wind up giving it away. I have T-shirts. No, not these T-shirts. These are ones I wear these. I don't sell these, but I have T-shirts that I had made to sell. And to be honest, this is what I wanted them to look like. But at the time, they couldn't make this the way I wanted it. So they gave me like a rendition, an artist rendering, so to speak. Although this is an artist rendering of my original drawing. I can say, look at that. This is a very nice shirt. Look at that. Look at that. See, this is an artist. Oh, the blue face is disappearing. Okay, but I designed that. And then I paid a friend of mine to do this artist rendering. And then when I had the T-shirts made, because at some point, I mean, I had when I started doing comedy, I had a look I was trying to achieve. I had a theory. And my theory is very simple. I'm not going to be famous anytime soon, if at all. And so my idea was that I was going to have one shirt that I was just going to perform in all the time, so that if it got to the point where I wanted to make a compilation, I was in the same outfit, that kind of continuity. And I was trying to perform at places with black screens with a black background, you know, simple backgrounds, so that it's like, oh, he's at a bar, he's in a wall, he's outside, you know. I was trying to do that kind of stuff. I was trying to create a certain amount of fake continuity. And so in the beginning, like I showed you that thing for my very first set, I was wearing a red shirt. It was a Marvel shirt. And so I started performing in that. And then Marvel fucked up. The president of Marvel went and endorsed Donald Trump. And I said, that's it. I'm not performing in any more Marvel shirts. Matter of fact, I'm not going to perform in anybody else's shirts. I'm going to just perform in my own shirts. Because I don't know who, okay. At the time I was performing and I was recording sets, Marvel had not come out. The CEO of Marvel had not come out and endorsed Trump. So I was fine with wearing Marvel stuff. Then they came out and said, we're endorsing Trump. And I stopped wearing the Marvel stuff. But all that stuff is out there with my face and Marvel on my chest, as if I endorsed somebody who endorsed Trump. And I stopped wearing it once he started endorsing Trump. So I said, I'm not going to be caught in that mess again. I'm not going to wear anybody else's clothing except for my own, because I know I'm not going to change my affiliation. Even if I do, it's still my affiliation. I can't separate me from me, you know. Even if I turn out to be a piece of shit scumbag, it's still me. So that's why I went ahead and started designing the shirts. I designed the shirts. I started wearing my own shirt. Now I have 4 different shirts that I've performed in of my own design. But the one that I give away, it doesn't look the way I want it. I wanted this. This was my design. And this other thing was the artist was the closest thing the silkscreener could come to, because it's a real silkscreen shirt. And because it was a real silkscreen shirt, they could not do this kind of detail. They'd have to, like I said, real silkscreen, like 4-color silkscreen. And if anybody's familiar with silkscreen process, you know how fucking difficult it would be to make something like this. So it's not what I envisioned. And once I got these for myself, I stopped selling the other ones. And I just give them away. If I perform and I find out, you know, And I would have done this. I would have even done this in Michigan, but I forgot to bring the shirts. I found out if there's any birthdays in the audience. If there's birthdays in the audience, I give them a shirt. Plain and simple. I didn't do that in Michigan because I forgot to bring the shirts. But I'll be doing that on the 23rd at the nursing home. I'll bring my shirts. If there's any birthdays in there, I'll give them a shirt. One of those shirts. So I don't even sell them anymore. They're just giveaways at this point. And the people who bought the shirts in the beginning, I'm sorry. Because people were buying them in the beginning. It's like, oh, man. Yeah, now I give them away. I know you paid money for them, but yeah, sorry. Yeah, I give them away. People, birthdays, that stuff. And at some point, I will start selling these. But these shirts are not cheap to make. And I'd have to sell them for like, I think I'd have to sell them for like $30 or $40 each. And there's something in my heart that will not let me charge $40 for a t-shirt. It just not fucking can't do it. Now I paid $40 for a t-shirt, but that's only because I was supporting friends. Heavy Cab says, my son is 15. Wait a minute. My son is 15 ABD, thinks GD is too tame and woke, LOL. He's 15 ABD. I don't know what ABD. Oh, and that's and, isn't it? Because the B is next to the N. Got it. My son, because the A is next to the S, the B is next to the N. My son is 15 and thinks GD is too tame and woke. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. Oh, the t-shirts. I give them away. I don't, yeah. That's awesome. Have a nice day, GD. See you tomorrow. Yes. Thank you, Ann. Thank you, Ann in California. Welcome to the show. Tell Tony and him I said hi when you get into the room. Tell him I said hi. I don't think I'll get a chance to listen. Got to cut the grass, and I got to recondition myself, to retrain myself to be awake at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I can't go to sleep because on the 23rd, I'll be doing this show. Oh my God, it's 11:30. I didn't even realize that. Oh, guys, why didn't you say something? You could have gotten me off the air like 4 minutes ago. Jeez, me Christmas. Okay, I'm just going to finish up with this one thought. Oh, Tony's out for a while. Wow. Oh, okay. I'll have to give him a call, find out what's going on. I have to call my friend Tony, see what's going on. My buddy. Yeah, on the 23rd, the show will probably say end around 11:30. I'm going to load my car up with stuff. And I'm going to, because load my car, and then I'll be at the venue by 1 o'clock so I can unload. I want to be there before 1 so I can unload. So by 1 o'clock, I'm actually setting up. 1 o'clock, I will have had all my stuff out of the car. I'll be at the nursing home setting up and running a sound check. And because I'm bringing my own PA system, my own amplifiers, guitars, stuff like that, my own microphones. They don't have to have anything for me. I'm bringing all my own stuff, and even my own lights, just in case anybody shouldn't need the lights because they're not dark. It's a fucking nursing home. There's no stage lighting. There's no stage. There's like an area where I'm going to be. That's it. And I'm not streaming it live because it's a private event. So I'm not streaming it live. I'll record it. I will record it. And if anything that doesn't make me look too bad, I'll share it. If it's, yeah, if it works well and it's worth sharing, because the sound won't be great. I'm gonna tell you now, I've set up my camera in places like this. The sound is not great. It's like a big hall. And sometimes it's like echo, do. So I don't know about this place, but I've done the nursing homes before. And I didn't even know how bad the sound was until I went to listen to it on my camera. Like, holy shit, that's what they were hearing? That's awful. And it wasn't my sound system, that was theirs. So I'm hoping that 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 won't be the case here. And there's a guy there, there's a nursing guy, one of the nurses there. He wants to do stand-up comedy. His name is Eduardo. And I'm thinking about letting him do a couple of minutes, just to see if he wants to do it. Now, he wants to do an open mic first. So I don't want to put him on the spot, because I told him when he does his first open mic to let me know, and I will be there in the audience to support him. And he has not sent me an email letting me know that he's doing his first open mic. So I'm assuming he has not done an open mic yet. At any rate, I can continue this conversation tomorrow or start a new one. Tomorrow's Friday, the 17th. And Ron will probably be here, which means I probably won't be showing any videos, because Ron will just get up and walk out, yawn, leave. And I look, if Slaptail gets up and walks out of the room and yawns and stuff, I don't mind. I don't see him do it. No, he just sends me emojis, boring, and that's fine. But here, I would see Ron get up out of the, like in his little chair, get up and walk out. We have these little mini screens underneath the thing, like thumbnails, and I'd see him like and walk out, because oddly enough, not only does Ron think I'm boring, he thinks I'm boring to my face. So, let's see what I'm gonna do this yet. I didn't let me see. I played Volatile Cocktail. I played Our Gang of Study. Did These Other Days. I don't feel like looking up another one, because I don't have many more songs that I've put the videos and lyrics to. Because I was waiting for the band's input. Because some of them, the other members wrote, and I wanted to know what they wanted in the video, because it's actually their songs. I just performed them. But anyway, this is I Haven't Got a Clue. It's the first song on the CD. It was one of the original 4 songs that we were supposed to do. It was supposed to be a 4-song EP, and it's one of the original 4 songs that we did for the CD. And it's the first one, and it's my favorite song that I've written. It's my favorite song that I've ever written. So thank you. Look, guys, thank you so much for hanging out. This really means a lot to me. I know you're all wishing Matt well. I don't know. I'd like to think you're all wishing Matt well. I will forward the well wishes, or you can send them to him. Send them to him yourself through Facebook. Send them positive thoughts. And thank you for being around. And I will see you guys tomorrow.
But I haven't got a clue what it is I have to be to get next to you. Well, I guess another man would know those lines and lies and law, but I've never learned those posh cliches you've heard them all before. Do I go broke wearing fancy clothes, and do I play games? Do I just put on a show, and do I pretend that I'm something else? And do I risk it all and make a fool of myself? Am I fooling myself? Oh, I haven't got a clue. How do I make a bond between me and you now? Woman, I'm tired of being blue. But tell me what to do, 'cause I haven't got a clue. I guess you think I'm stupid, 'cause I haven't got a clue else? And do I risk it all or make a fool of myself? Am I fool of myself? Oh, I haven't got a clue. How do I make a bond between me and you now, woman? I'm tired of being blue. So tell me what to do, 'cause I haven't got a clue.